which is the tawny owl. Bromley, the tree's over there. Thank you. So you give him that look and he goes, oh, I best do something now. So they're very closely related to the tawny owl that we have in the wild in this country. And at a sort of surface glance, he really doesn't look a lot like a tawny owl. But then if you actually look closely and sort of think about it, if he was brown and black rather than grey and black, and a bit smaller, he really would look a lot like a tawny owl. And they're very closely related, so they're both members of the Strix family of birds, which is essentially the wood owls. So these guys are birds that live primarily in reasonably thick forests. They don't really like to be out in open sort of meadowlands typically when they're out hunting. They are definitely birds that hunt in woodlands, very much the same as the tawny owl. And those of you who are familiar with tawny owls are probably aware that you hear them an awful lot more than you see them. It's actually quite rare to see a tawny owl unless you're deliberately out looking for them. But you can hear them all the time. You know, they're quite happy sort of mooching around human habitations. I've got a family of them in my garden, which is fine except when they've got babies and the babies decide they're hungry at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then it's less fun. But they're quite happy to live in quite close proximity to humans, so you do hear them fairly regularly. Now these guys are not found natively in this country. These guys are found, well, they're named for one of their core habitats, which is the Ural Mountains, which is in Northern Europe, but they're spread throughout Northern Europe and also in parts of Northern Asia. And the reason that they're very differently coloured to the tawny owl is all to do with where they live. The forests in which they live in are forests of the far north, and they're very different in coloration to the forests you find in this country. Where are you going? Oh, good boy. And so the idea is that his coloration is, there's nothing delicate about this bird. He lands with such a thud. Every time as well, there's never anything just sort of, I'm going to be gentle now. It's every time to whack on the glove. Isn't it? You're such a scamp. What was I talking about, Bromley? Were you listening? I don't know if I was. It's a bit of a mistake that I don't always listen to myself, so then I get distracted and I'm like, what was I talking about? Habitat, that's what I was talking about. So because they live in these sort of forests that are very different in terms of coloration to what we have in this country, you have more of your sort of silver birch type trees, so sort of grey silvery barks, very different green kind of leaves, lots more snow and ice, and so they're designed to be camouflaged in that habitat, in the tree. Oh, Bromley. Any time today, mate. So hang on, there might be some more food here. Come on, you can do it. Thank you. And if you look at him when he sat in the tree, if you didn't know he was there, you really would struggle to see him. Now imagine him sitting in the tree that he's supposed to be sitting in, and he really would. Got you? He really would be incredibly well camouflaged. Now this is something that is quite common to owls as a general rule. They are generally designed in such a way that they can be camouflaged where they live. And it's not about trying to escape from things that want to eat them, but it's trying to make their lives a little bit easier. You may have noticed, those of you who he's flown over, that you can't really hear him when he flies past. He's pretty much completely silent in flight. And so what you've got here is a bird that their prey can't see or hear until it's too late. And that's the whole point of the camouflage. They're designed, essentially, this is the original stealth bomber. They're designed to sneak up on their prey, and if your prey doesn't hear or see you coming until you're practically on top of them, then you just have a much better chance of actually catching something than if you're like, oh, I'm over here. And that's why owls are camouflaged. Now I'm going to see if he wants to come back to the fist. Good boy. I'm going to stop there. We'd like to quit while we're ahead here, before he goes and sits in a tree and stays there. And we've got one more bird to fly for you on this demonstration. He's going to fly down from behind. We will have to have the slight microphone switch over again. Keep your eyes peeled. You can't miss him. He's about the size of a barn door. He'll come down from